Like, how did you become so educated on how Palestine became occupied by Israel? Like, why don't you believe the media when they say it's Israel's rightful land?
We, very early on in our lives, we questioned the media. When we were young, we were criticising British and American policy on Vietnam and on South Africa.
Yeah.
Sue was trained as a dress designer. I trained as a cabinet maker who sort of morphed into a furniture designer, into a product designer, into an architect, just by assuming that I could do it.
Yes.
We love reading. Sue was always interested in Middle Eastern costume.
Yes, very much.
Yeah.
And collected Middle Eastern costume. And we began to encounter, in the early days when we went down to lectures and demonstrations on the South Bank, and we'd have screaming Zionists shouting at us when we came out of discussions. This was, what's the famous actress?
I just had it and that's gone again. Vanessa Redgrave, a very famous actress.
Who lives, her career was damaged by Zionists.
Yeah, but she
because
was very
when we started out being critical and what we regard as free thinkers, we're not religious, we're free thinkers. Yeah? And I think
you just need common sense these days to know
Muhammad
which people
would be
lack.
pissed off with everybody, including a lot of Muslims, because his objective is clear in his writings. His objective is to make a coherent society out of a tribal one, develop it intellectually, which it did in the early days. It led on medical research, everything. A lot of our mathematics comes from the work through him creating a coherent, well thought out society with a rule of law, and he was inventing the rule of law. He was inventing the rights of his people and trying to stop them getting at each other, looking after each other properly, and getting on into a coherent society, you know. And so, but I'm not religious, because I don't believe you can't just be dogmatic about things. You've got to learn from it, listen to it, and be a free thinker and develop it, you know. Like I cannot accept different heights of relationship between human beings, be they gay or women or anything else. You know, we are all. I shouldn't say it because I don't get on with my sister, but we're all brothers and sisters. You know, we're all one family. But you know what I mean in principle.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. But I also worked 30 years ago.
Yes, that's important.
30 years ago, I went to work in Dubai. Sorry.
No, I'm checking it's recording.
I worked in Dubai. My labourers were Afghan.
Yeah.
My craftspeople were Pakistani. My bosses were Dubaians, Sheikh Rashid.
Okay.
Minions controlled me because I was building schools when there's just desert there. Nothing, no roads. Well, the roads were there, but we ignored them. We just drove across the sand very fast, because if you didn't, you went through the salt crust and got stuck. And
Well, so you must have witnessed Dubai develop.
yeah, when I was there, it was just a creek.
Now it's just glass buildings.
Were you from Dubai originally?
No, I'm not. I'm from Bangladesh.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah. And my administrators were Palestinian. And whenever I had to go and have a meeting with them, there was this big room and everybody sat in chairs. And because I was on a project, the senior administrator had lots of people coming to see him. In Arab cultures, you always have a big group of people and often a chair or a settee in front of the person in those days who was official you know,
Yeah,
and you sat in this chair very low down, and the desk, and the official up there, and you tried to talk to, and I got to asking, the Palestinians always seem sad, you know, and I got to asking them about things. And the people around didn't understand because they were all Dubaians, you know, or Pakistanis or Bangladeshi labourers or something, you know, with a problem. And because I used to have to wait sometimes hours, and then when I met the guy and we had the talk, it didn't always concentrate on the job in hand, you know.
Yeah.
It would be a few hours later before I got out. And so I learnt a lot. I learnt a lot about people. My labourers, I remember them taking a rest regularly. They were supposed to be chipping away to lanes of drainage that I'd arranged because it was in the wrong place and didn't work, and they had to take them up. And why were they stopping all the time? So I went down with them. I didn't have an interpreter and I couldn't speak the Afghans' language. So they were cooping down on the sand and I watched them and I said, could I have a go? And I got the chisels out and bashed away. And that's when I found that if you have a lot of vibration, your wrists go numb and you can't hold the tool anymore. And the reason they were stopping and talking all the time was because their wrists were going numb. They had to do everything by hand. And that was it. And I realised, you know, with the Pakistani guys, I had a sweeper upper. And he was, whenever I came round, he would sweep, which meant that everything was full of dust all the time, fine desert dust. And I had to explain to him, I managed to get somebody to translate, and one of the plumbers actually, Pakistani plumbers, that look, you're going to get paid anyway, so when I come, you don't have to sweep, and when you sweep, I want you to get a bucket of water and put some water down. I showed him how to do it, you know, and put it down, so that he didn't spoil all the work that the men were doing with this thin film of very fine dust. It was like smoke, you know. And he was a nice man, but he was worried about losing his job if I didn't see him sweeping.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yeah, so
Keep busy.
keep busy. Yeah. And I've worked for years in Indonesia. Everybody there was Muslim.
Yeah, I think it's the largest Muslim country.
Yeah, oh, it is.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Very nice, moderate people. And in Singapore, a lot of my administrators, when I worked there, were Muslim as well. They always had a hijab on. In Singapore, they had a very strong attitude about politics and religion not dividing society. And they had strong regulations. You couldn't cover your whole face, that was illegal, which meant that motorcyclists couldn't wear full face helmets.
Oh, required for them too.
Yeah, across the board. Oh, well, that's logical, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's fair. Yeah?
But for health and safety reasons, you'd think they would.
Ah, yeah, but they have to, if they wore a full face, they have to take it off immediately. They stop or dismount.
Oh, okay.
Take it off. Yeah?
Okay.
No, it was fair and logical. And it applied to men and women.
That's better than Saudi.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
In Dubai, of course, in the souks and that, all the women were always covered, you know.
Oh.
And I just got used to it, you know. I've still got it upstairs. I got a full Arab dress, head and everything, because we used to work from about 3 o'clock in the morning till about midday, and then it'd get too hot.
So what inspired you to actually start protesting against Israel, having all these banners? Like, how does...
We always have
Combination of
done.
things.
Always have done.
It was a lot of it was Vanessa Redgrave's influence, because
Oh,
she
30,
was a famous actress, and she was always giving talks about the Palestinians. She'd arrange meetings and people would go. So the message was sort of spreading.
Have you actually been to Palestine?
No, I'd never been well enough to go.
And
I would have loved
I
to
think
go.
by the time we had enough money to go,
We couldn't.
we couldn't.
Because we were-
I think they'd give us a lot of aggravation.
Yeah.
I wouldn't take off
that's-
my badge. They would know. The Israelis control all access to Palestine, and the arse-licking Egyptians
Yeah.
who do
I-
what the Americans
yeah.
want. You
So
know,
the influence of Vanessa Redgrave was
I don't mean
very
all
big.
Egyptians, by the way. I mean,
No.
Yeah, I've been to Egypt.
you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The army and
Yeah.
people who follow the.
Yeah.
Those in
government.
control, who want America's money. Like 3 billion goes to Israel from America. 3 billion.
That's how they're becoming so large. That's how they're winning the cultural.
They're an unsinkable aircraft carrier for America. American policy.
Of course.
Disruptive, very disruptive and destructive.
Yeah.
Sorry,
So
I keep
It was
interrupting.
her, and then for me, well, it got us both thinking, and then Frank met all these lovely administrators in Dubai who were Palestinian, and they talked about their story.
Their
Yeah.
experiences, you
And,
see. Real life experiences.
Yeah, and I studied fashion, and I love ethnic clothes very, very much. And I found one day in a junk shop just down here a filthy black dress for £15, and I looked at it and I could just see the embroidery on it, so I bought it, washed it very carefully, Palestinian dress, and it came out like a jewel. It was beautiful. Only, you know.
Was that the one they
That's
auctioned?
the one I. No. I've still got
Yeah.
my favourite one. And I just
Sue
studied
sent one of
more
her
and more
Palestinian
now.
dress to
recently, Dr. Ang, do you know Dr. Ang?
Dr. Hang. No.
She
but I
wrote
don't
a
know why it's
book on
bringing a bell.
Saba and Shatila. She was a doctor in Sabah and Shatila. She was a
Oh,
Singaporean doctor. That's how we got to hear about
Yeah.
her.
Yeah,
okay.
but she's here now. She is a medical doctor. Her partner's already dead, unfortunately. She is the head of this
Very left wing.
organisation called MAP, Medical Aid for Palestine,
Oh, okay.
and that's based in Islington. And we got to know her personally, didn't we? Through
You
Singaporean
more than me because you made
contacts.
the effort. And Sue donated a dress and it's auctioned for 1,500 quid, didn't
Yeah,
it?
it raised £1,500 for MAP recently.
There are other reasons, there are undercurrents to our attitude to Palestinians. We're sympathetic to Kurds as well,
So,
who were sliced and diced
yeah.
Oh,
Eh,
yeah.
when-
There's many Kurds around here.
when what you call it collapsed in 1920s.
Who's what you call it?
Oh, the empire, the Islamic Empire.
Turkey? No.
I've forgotten the proper term for it now. It controlled the whole of the Middle East, and it finally collapsed in the 1920s, just after the 1914-18 war.
I don't know. Yeah, the marbles get rusty.
The marbles get rusty.
Our marbles get rusty.
Uh,
Our thinking
Yeah.
gets
Yeah.
stuck. I
But
don't know.
my family, half my family, has been seriously affected by warfare because it's half Belgium. And
Get
yeah.
the atlas out.
my grandmother was a refugee here in England, and a lot of our family escaped from various things, including the Russian Revolution and stuff. And so the loss, to lose, like Uncle Latzi, he escaped from Hungary. If you lose property, that's one thing. You lose your phone, it gets stolen, you get very upset,
Yes.
yeah? But if you lost your house, you get even more upset. Or say you lose your house for a while and then you go back to it and you find it all stripped out. It's been robbed. But you lose your property, you lose your house, and then you lose your land. And
Your
you
whole
can't,
identity is.
you can't go back.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's and we understand it in a different way as well, because our grandchildren, one lot are half Russian and one lot are half Japanese, and one of the important things for them is that they always are proud of their roots and their both cultures, not just
You
one.
must be.
And one of the things I was doing with students in Singapore was making them proud to be Asian.
Yeah.
You know, they're always too respectful of Western everything.
Yeah.
The West is okay. I mean, a car
But you
is
don't need
nice,
to
an
start
internal combustion,
worshipping it.
but it's not. Yeah, architecture is architecture. A mechanism, antibiotics, all these things. They're wonderful things, but the roots of a lot of them, the mathematics, is from a bigger society.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't be egotistical about it. You know, you only have to look at people who are awarded prizes for science and see that it's international. You know, knowledge is international. Intellectualism is international. Morals are international. Like with Muhammad and that. I understand and I admire the people who've tried to make coherent moral societies. But that work should carry on, which is where you come in. You're carrying it on. We're geriatric old farts who are going to croak it.
You know what a fart is.
Yes, she does.
But
she's
honestly,
London enough.
I found it so admirable how the poster and everything, and then I was actually laughing at the bit when you said you're going to make more posters. I was like, this
Yeah.
article is getting more and more funny.
Oh, you
No.
the article.
Well, if somebody gets at me about free thinking
It's very stuff.
and about,
Yeah, that was what
about the
surprised me.
truth, nothing that I say is not truthful. And if somebody gets at me or bullies me, I want to do it twice as much back. Not violently,
Yeah,
but
definitely.
don't try and stop me from telling the truth. And Zionists are a especially repellent group of people. They claim they're a race. What a load of old bollocks that is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen that because we had a local group here, pro-Palestine, and we used to go on little demos of our own creating and stand outside shops and try and persuade people not to buy Israeli things.
Yeah.
And the Israeli, I don't know what to call them, the bully boys would turn up. And they'd start bullying us and saying, "Why are you doing this?"
Ottoman.
Oh, the Ottoman Empire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I couldn't think of that either.
Yeah.
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 So we have experienced that, and it's not nice. It's not
No.
nice.
And we're not gonna give in to it. And a lot of our neighbours said, shouldn't you cool it down a bit? You might, because a couple came up to me and they were ranting and raving at
We
us.
think they were probably American, don't we?
Well, or Israeli.
Seriously, around here.
No,
Yeah.
no, they pretended to live round
No.
here, but we never
They
saw them
turned
again.
up
I was
They
gonna
turned
say.
up. Somebody must have told them.
My
about-
grandparents just lived there as well.
Oh,
That's why.
Right, they just turned up in the street, and some neighbours came out because they were so shrill,
They
you know, to
started shouting
protect
at
us
Frank.
because they were shouting. But they were suggesting, well, you want to be careful. Somebody might throw paint at your house or do harm.
Yeah,
to
don't you have that fear, like, you know, smashed
No.
windows or...
But they said it. These Israeli Zionists said that to us in
Oh.
a street in London.
And there were lots of our neighbours and that began shouting at them.
Yeah,
You
they
know,
were
why
upset.
can't they put up what they believe
I mean, it's
in?
England, right? You'd think
Yeah.
freedom of speech and
Yeah.
everything. But you'll be surprised at the rise
Well,
of racist attacks that is also happening and
Yeah,
rising
well,
day by day.
That's why I was writing this, because about the media and the misuse of language in the media.
Yes.
The total reversal of everything. You know, as if, look, was it the Norwegian lad who shot all those kids on an island?
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
But
Did
he
they
wasn't
say
labelled as a...
Christian
yeah.
terrorist. Did anybody say he was a Christian terrorist? No, he was a nutter. If Israelis go into the temple on the mount and shoot some Muslims,
Which they have done.
were they called terrorists? Oh no.
That is also what I wanted to ask. I know it can get a bit personal, but I'm comfortable
ask
to ask
anything.
because I can see you're very
You can
honest.
ask
But
anything.
if you say you're a British white couple, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you were Asian or black or Arab instead, and you
wouldn't
had
go
these
do it.
posters up,
You
do you
wouldn't-
think they would have dealt with you differently, or
Oh,
do you think
yeah.
they're a bit lenient with you because you are white British or dark?
I don't know.
Well,
I've
think so.
noticed that our neighbours are diffident. You know, we've got Bangladeshi next door, and I know that notice they never talk politics with me. Partly,
never.
they're not very intellectual.
Okay.
Yeah, they're more working class.
Okay.
So you got to, you know, you can't generalise. I think some of their diffidence is they don't want to attract attention to themselves.
Yes.
And would I do it? And yes, I would, because I don't, you know, I hope that like you don't give X, Y, Z, you know, about what people think. But yes, I would think if I had Arabic looks or coloured skin, I would be more self-conscious. Would I be treated differently? Well, funnily enough, I wonder if there would be two forces at work. One, reverse racism, you know, where people would pull back and not tell me the truth, you know, not express their views to me in case they got into trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yes.
So I think there would be two levels of struggling with each other. You know, the PC one, which affects us all. You know, we're all human beings. We're all racist inside. When we're tired, we're angry, we're exhausted, we're ill or stressed, we don't behave rationally.
Definitely.
Yeah? So we're normal human beings. So we know we've got to be PC, but sometimes we get a bit edgy. Yeah?
Yeah.
And behind closed doors, we're sometimes, I would almost say, not so hypocritical. Yeah, we're more fluid. It depends who we're comfortable with, how we talk, how we express ourselves. So it's a complex answer to that question. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't know whether I'd pull my punches. I don't know whether people would treat me differently. Yes, they would. Different groups would for different reasons.
How about how they talked about you in the newspaper? Do you think they would have used different terms instead of
Say that again?
how they wrote about you in the article in the Camden Journal?
I thought she did very
Fantastic.
cleverly.
Yeah, she did really
Nicely.
nicely.
She did a
She
very,
was
oh,
lovely.
I went straight down there with a note
They
saying
are
that the
quite-
copy was fantastic.
Yeah,
they
I
are-
contacted her and I was like, I really like the way you wrote.
Nice.
Yeah.
She's
Yeah.
lovely.
I thought it was very cleverly written, written in an egalitarian way, she edited what we said in a very respectful way.
Yeah, and no racist can take advantage of that article.
No.
That was
Mind
what's
you,
really.
you notice that we have had a long experience of being criticised.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Having strong views is automatically going to get you
yeah,
criticism.
but it means that we're very careful. I use the term Israeli or Zionist punctiliously. Yeah, punctiliously. There's another. This is because it's interesting. We collected some of the recent articles, and
Oh, have you got them?
What papers do you read regularly? Are you picky with
now,
what?
yeah, the Financial
read
Times, the Guardian.
Same.
I don't read
Um,
anything.
How about the BBC News? What's your opinions on the
They're
BBC?
they're corrupt.
They're very
Yeah.
biased.
They're biased and corrupt.
Very biased.
We can tell that the journalists
don't
are
sell-
under pressure.
Yeah,
Yes,
they don't
definitely.
tell the
I mean,
truth.
every
they-
day in uni they're using BBC News as examples, and I'm just like,
No,
Yeah.
they haven't
can
got
you
the,
not clearly see?
They
I
haven't
know.
got the balls. The journalists haven't got the balls. You can tell they pull their punches. There's only now and again the Far Eastern journalists are given the chance to tell the truth. And only recently I noticed there's been a sudden change in the reporting on Syria. A sudden change. They're at last showing pictures both sides of the Damascus-Aleppo borders, showing that. Why don't people ask, well, if it's taking all this aircraft, all these tanks to suppress the extremist attacking the government forces, what damage are those forces doing to the government community, as it were? There's another community there that's
Yeah.
ostensibly pro-government. And only recently have they been showing that the damage is exactly the same on their side. Well, how can that be? How can that be if these poor victims, you know, the poor little rebels,
Yeah.
unarmed and being suppressed by the Russians, what a load of old bollocks. And they
Excuse
just...
the language.
They,
I'm used to it.
she does. And anyway, she's got to get used to it, you know, it's a street language, isn't it? It's in every society that it's the same.
What's our new MP's?
Keir Starmer,
No, sorry, not leader of the Labour Party.
Jeremy Corbyn.
Jeremy Corbyn is very much in support of
We've always
Palestine.
supported him.
So have I.
Did you
Yeah.
know that?
Yeah.
Of course
Yeah.
she does.
He's
Yeah, I
my
could
favourite.
sense it from her. She's to the left and
Yeah,
she's...
he's
she-
fantastic. He's fantastic.
He is.
Yeah, yeah.
He does such. He's done in the past. He's done such
Well,
good
well, I
things.
put up two signs. One,
Palestine.
Keir, you're wrong, which the other night at a meeting, Keir Starmer came up behind me and put his hands on my shoulder. He says to this group of about 40 people, he says, I walk down the street from my house, which is up there, and I can turn right or I can turn left. If I turn right, I walk into people who say what a good job I'm doing. If I turn left, I got posters 10 foot high saying, Keir, you're wrong. Because then I put a list. Look, the so-called leaders were wrong on Iraq. They were wrong on housing. They were wrong on industrialisation. They were wrong on driving down wages, you know?
Yeah.
And I put that up in red on the
And-
front, handwritten like these.
Yeah, don't forget Vietnam. I mean, we were on the Vietnam marches when we were young people.
Yeah, no, I
With-
mentioned that
with,
to
with
you.
our babies.
Yeah,
Idiots that we were.
naive.
Those are ambitious. Like I really try to be active as possible, but it does get tiring.
It
and
is exhausting.
very tiring. I'm just grateful I'm from an active family as well.
Oh, right.
So
And I try, I'm excitable, so I have to watch that I don't get too strident.
that's what my mom says to me. Like, you need to be careful, young lady.
Well, the objective that you have, like I have, is to persuade people.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
raise awareness.
Yeah. So I've learned that you must do it with a smile and gentle. It's easy to scare the horses.
Yes.
Yeah. The normal people out there they won't wear the badge.
No, there's a lot of people that belong to, not Matt, to the other charity.
I don't know.
Yes, you do.
Oh well, anyway.
They won't wear the badge. Now, what's the good of you
Belonging.
are supporting it, but you
They,
know,
they'll go to the
if
meetings,
you
but they never
join,
go out
why
and wear
not
the
wear
badge.
the badge all the time? We do.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
in college, I used to wear it daily, my Palestine bracelets and stuff.
Yeah.
And this guy was like, what difference do you think you're making? He obviously didn't agree with me. I was like, well, is it getting on your nerves? He goes, he didn't say anything. I was like, oh, that's my aim.
Yeah.
That's my aim.
Well,
Go
look,
away.
I am on the underground.
It's
I
a
didn't
drip.
don't wear. I got another jacket with a badge on, and everywhere on the underground.
Me too.
And we get people talking to us,
Yeah.
and we
Yeah.
get people accosting us, and that's the point.
Yeah.
And we notice people glancing, and I want it. Every little drip. We're nothing more than a grain of sand. But you know that you cannot walk comfortably with a grain of sand in your shoe, a tiny little grain. You're looking for it sometimes, a little bit of grip. And that's what we are in. Our objective in people's minds is to get an idea noticed, a concept noticed. And it's about getting people to think. Just think, for God's sake. You know.
But I mean,
Yeah.
what is the point if you join a charity like what are we talking about?
I don't know, is it on here?
PSC, Palestinian Solidarity Campaign.
Yeah, Palestinian
What is the
Solidarity
point if
Campaign.
you haven't got the guts just to wear a badge?
Yeah, I used to be teaching, and
He can talk forever, this bloke.
That's great.
I said to my students, they said, "Why do you wear odd socks?" I said, "I don't. I don't wear odd socks. You wear This is semantics again. It comes back to this is an important thing in journalism. You wear," I said, "identical socks. Identical. I wear matching socks. Like today, I'm wearing the colours that Mondrian, the artist, would use." Yeah? So that sometimes you're conditioned by language to think in very simplistic terms and conventions. Language can be a mental prism. That's why I'm going on about language. Like, you know, the media use of language is simplistic and imprisoning and conditioning. Sorry, Sue.
You know.
No.
There's a guy up here who we're friendly with. He's non-political, but he was actually a soldier, British soldier in Palestine. All those years ago.
And the Israeli terrorists would come up to British soldiers that they didn't have uniforms on, the terrorists, the Israelis, and they'd have a gun there, and then they'd just go up to the soldier and shoot him in the chest.
The British soldiers.
The Israelis would shoot the British soldier who was
defending Palestine?
Yeah, who were there policing Palestine after the war in 1945, 48. Yeah, before they withdrew, before the English cowardly withdrew from protecting the Palestinians.
Oh, terrible. You just walked out and left them.
We left them.
Abandoned them. And then they ran, apparently, the families, because they were afraid that their daughters would be raped and things like that, so they all ran away. But I mean, I could see, as I began to learn about it more and more, I could see from the quality of the embroidery on the clothes that it was what I would describe as a high folk
high-level folk
culture.
Yeah.
That was the word I was looking for.
Very old, established Palestinian culture
that was being destroyed. You can see it in the dresses.
Being destroyed.
You've seen
their
them,
existence being denied their existence. This is what they're doing now. They're regarded as a lower form of life by the Israelis.
Yeah.
You know, Untermensch. Do you know the German terms of Nazism? Untermensch, lower form of people. That was the term used for Slavs, which is why the Germans killed so many Russians, 20 million, because they were a lower form of life. But in that term, a lower form of life, Untermensch, lower people, were the Jews.
Yeah,
and Lebensraum, living space. Leben is living, Raum is space, living space. That's why I use those terms, because it triggers in the intelligentsia, the older intelligentsia, this awareness of the connection and the irony that the Israelis are treating the Palestinians as they were treated, and as they claim was wrongly treated.
How can you do that?
How can you do that? It's wicked. It's wicked. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh dear.
Yeah.
So language, which you're interested in, is very important, and historical connections and origins of roots like Lebensraum and Untermensch, to know that, so that you can use. They're the grain of sand, because every older Jewish person in the community here, there's a lot around, they know exactly what I'm saying when I say a lower form of life, or I'm saying living space. Then I'm triggering in their minds a guilt, because I don't want any Jewish person to support doing to other people what was done to
That's
them.
right.
Because what's the point otherwise of remembering?
I've said that.
We're
in
supposed to
Lemons.
remember. Well, then remember it and don't do it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's just going to be a repeated circle.
Pardon?
A repeated circle of what?
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Or
yes,
hypocrisy.
exactly.
Yes.
Or
Yeah.
hypocrisy.
Have you ever heard of Sabra
Proper,
and
it becomes
Shatia?
proper.
Sabra and Shatia.
They were two camps in Lebanon, weren't they?
Yeah, they're
And
refugee
they were
camps.
refugee camps full of Palestinians. This was a long time ago, wasn't it? And they were attacked by the...
They were surrounded by the Israelis and the Christian militia
Yeah.
in Lebanon.
Yeah.
And the Israelis decided to let the Christian militia clean out the camp.
Clean out. And this
They
little
just literally
yeah,
killed everybody
Dr. Ang was there
in the camp.
Oh,
as a doctor.
She was
She
lucky
she
not
must
to
have
be
witnessed
killed.
every.
She's got
Yeah, she
a
was a
book.
witness,
She's
and she
written
wrote-
a book
Yeah.
about it. I
Yeah.
could probably find it.
It's the only thing she ever wrote, but since then she's dedicated her
Her
intellectual life
Yeah.
to
Supporting
protesting
the
and supporting.
Palestinian.
Yeah,
Once you witness
She's
something
tiny.
so brutal, you
yeah.
you
Oh,
tend to
yeah.
dedicate
Well-
your whole life.
Well,
Oh,
she
yeah?
would She was like you. She was young then. She was idealistic, left wing. Her husband was a communist and got chucked out. They both got chucked out of Singapore. She was there because she was so idealistic. She went to help the real victims, the real poor, and was
of
working in a
course that's-
camp in
yeah.
appalling conditions and in extreme danger long before you had organised NGOs.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
seriously ballsy for a little.
Yeah.
I mean, she's
And
very
she's
diminutive.
tiny, isn't
she's
she?
like you. She's quite diminutive.
Yeah.
You know, doesn't
Tiny.
look strong.
She's
physically.
Asian, right?
Yes.
But she's stronger than
Yeah.
I am by a long
She's
shot.
Chinese
Real
version,
strength, you know,
yeah.
real intellectual personality,
she's
strength.
She's
you know.
amazing, honestly.
Yeah.
If you could maybe approach Map and meet her.
Yes, definitely.
I don't know whether she
You-
would
you-
do that.
One of the reasons too is she's no youngster,
No.
and she's a real female under
She
noticed because she's so humble.
Yeah, she runs well her organisation MAP, Medical Aid for Palestine. They're the main NGO for Palestine. And every time there's a bus stop out there, she goes. And she's smaller than you and frail. She's just incredible.
No, she's worth interviewing more than we are.
Oh, much
Yeah,
more.
much more.
I'm just starting. I'm just
Yeah.
literally starting.
Yeah, but yeah. No, I'm not getting at you in a negative way. I know that you're researching, and from talking to one person, you hear about another.
Yeah.
And that's exactly the right thing
Yeah.
to do.
There was a whole group here. I don't know how they're going now anymore, but there was, what's her name, who brought the kids over from Palestine?
I've forgotten her name.
She's gone. Yeah. Anyway, this one woman, mother, sort of intellectual, and belonged to the Palestine pro-Palestinian movement. She was bringing over teenagers and finding families to take them in for maybe a month, 2
No,
months.
usually 3 to 6 months, so they had time to visit schools,
study a
study,
bit.
and
Okay.
become articulate.
Yeah.
Develop self-confidence like you,
So
having
they could-
encouraged to knock on a door, wonder what the hell's inside, am I endangering myself, you know? Yeah, I mean, it's risky, isn't it?
And go back, we had a lad stay with us, he drove us mad actually, didn't he?
Yeah,
He,
but
went,
he was-
he went back and not very effectively.
Yes, well, he's
Went
trying on the internet.
Is he
Yeah,
still?
Yeah, he's still there.
He is.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
He's gone back. He and his parents lived in a camp in Palestine. They weren't free. And, yeah. I can't even remember his name. He drove us bonkers. He's completely...
Well, he was so
young-
excited
young
with
and
being in the West,
naive.
and
everything.
women and girls were sort of, He couldn't believe it,
challenging.
you know, and chomping at the bit, you know, an 18-year-old, and wow!
Well, and, I mean, the actual fact was there were a lot of girls who were coming over from Palestine who were intellectual. You
Yeah.
know, and he was meeting them, and
He was a bit sheltered and a bit he wasn't up to speed intellectually like they
No, but
were. He was a little.
gradually, perhaps.
He was going to develop later, you know.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure if he had the same capabilities as
No,
they had.
but it might develop.
It might
You
develop,
just don't
yeah.
know.
No, I didn't. I had a soft spot for
Oh,
him.
what's the name of
It doesn't matter, Sue.
school?
Okay, thank you so much for
Do you want a cup
letting
of tea
me.
or a fruit
No,
juice?
no.
Have
I'm
you
honestly
seen a
fine.
Palestinian dress?
Palestinian dress, yes, I have. My auntie she owns a charity company, so she goes regularly to Palestine, OCOU, Our Children Are Ummah. So because I've never had the chance because my mom's so afraid to send me, and it's
Yeah,
really annoying.
dangerous.
I don't care.
Yeah,
my life could be at risk, but I just want to go
yeah,
and witness.
because you don't realise. I employed a young lad, 18, to work on this property as direct labour. He was very inefficient, but very honest, very decent, and fastidious. So if I asked him to do something, he did it, and he took forever to do it, but he did it, and he did it well. And one day he disappeared, and I just thought,
yes.
I just thought, oh,
What's happened
he's
to
not
him?
as reliable as I thought. What's gone wrong?
Yeah.
But I didn't have any
It's a
contact
famous
address.
story, this one.
I didn't have any contact address or telephone number for him. It was 2 weeks before I found out that he'd gone
His brother.
to Palace.
His brother.
Sue, stop it! He'd gone to Palestine to collect his brother's body.
Yeah.
His brother,
They've gone.
Sue, shush! His brother had been studying journalism, photojournalism,
Yeah.
and was touring.
The camps.
Shush! He was touring the Middle East and going to various places, and he ended up in Palestine. And it was in the early evening, and it was coming up to what is it when night's coming? An occupier has
Curfew.
Yeah.
It was coming up to curfew, and a little 7-year-old girl ran out of the house to continue playing, and her parents didn't dare chase her and he didn't realise why, and he just got slightly irritated and thought, I'll go out, and he ran out. He had his high visibility jacket on, grabbed the girl, and as he grabbed her, a sniper, Israeli, shot him in the head. He didn't die. He took a year to die. He was unconscious in the hospital up here. It was a very Christian family. I didn't know his family at that point. I didn't know that the lad I was employing was a Christian. I just knew he was a very nice, decent person and hard-working.
I'm very upset.
Yeah. So this comes back to you asking, why do you do these things?
I know.
But there's lots of, over the years, there's been so many things. So many things. So many things.
Partly.
And they become, we've hated the demonisation of Iran, who never attacked anybody, whilst America and Britain sold poison gas chemicals to Iraq to kill the Kurds and gas millions of Iranians. And then suddenly Iraq's the baddie. Oh, you complete hypocrite and bullshitters, And then you destabilise every country around there, Afghanistan, Iraq, and that you deliberately destabilise Kurdish society or the Marsh Arabs. You don't do diddly squat to help them.
They're
And now,
destroyed.
at last, the Kurds are getting their act together and
Yeah.
creating a state.
They're
And
wonderful,
Russia's helping
yeah.
them.
Yeah.
And Russia's helping. And you need to get
Yeah,
these
Russia's
tips.
very confusing. I just don't know how to keep up with Russia. But
Well-
one minute I'm like, oh, they're really good. And the
Yeah,
next minute
yeah.
I
No,
really
no.
hate them.
Yeah.
Yeah, but look, it's a regime that's going. You've got to. You see, we look at things on a bigger time scale than you do. First of all, no society is perfect.
Yes, definitely.
None. Nobody, and any large power that has imperial, colonial capabilities and history is certainly far from perfect in the international world. Russia is morphing through a whole series of crises into another kind of society. And at the moment, its economy is in a dreadful state. Dreadful. But ideologically, there's still the ghosts of socialism there. So they're helping the Kurds. And the people who help them are a bit like you. The Americans export their idealists, so they don't cause too much trouble at home. Like Saudi Arabia exports its Wahhabis for 40, 50 years to stop the ruling family from being harmed by the ultra Puritans, Wahhabis. They send them off with lots of money to Indonesia, to every university there, give them money to build buildings, set up courses all over the world. Anything, as long as we get rid of them. And I think there's a little bit of that going on with the idealists in Russia, the old guard, a bit like us, and the youngsters like you, that have got idealist views about a new society. You can see that the Kurds are being helped in that way, being given advice on governance, being given advice on strategy, given advice on a cohesive society, make your women equal, give them a chance, let them fight,
The Kurdish women are incredible.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I never get bored of reading and searching up
No,
and
no.
like just seeing them being so brave.
So
They're very
just
strong
chill
women.
out about Russia. It's far from perfect. It's many societies trying to come to a stability, which probably won't happen for another 50 years. And then, and see it in a longer term, and see it in layers. Because my daughter-in-law is Russian, we've now come to and one's Japanese, and in our family I've got lots of strong memories of stories from family members of fighting Germans, fighting Japanese, fighting Russians, you name it,
Yeah.
and there's propaganda, there's super nationalism, there's religious fanaticism, then there's human beings.
Yeah,
Just thoroughly decent, nice beings.
Yeah,
And we found travelling around the world that the majority of
And
people
nice.
are just
They're good
thoroughly
people.
nice and decent.
They may not
They
think,
may not be intellectuals, but they're still nice
they may
people.
not think very much.
But yeah, which is a problem. If only they'd think a little bit more
and wear
and not
their
trust
badges.
not trust their leaders so much. That's the trouble. That's the trouble. You're a thinker. You're going to become an intellectual. You're a proto-intellectual. You're going to read more and more, and keep developing. No, once you're infected like you are, and are thinking and want to think and want to be free, you're contaminated now. It won't stop. Yeah. No, it's good. Yeah. And you're the sort of student that I hope they give you a good kicking, demand more of you.
Well,
Yeah?
hopefully that
So
will
don't
happen.
always feel that you're being got at and challenged. That's good, because they recognise your intellectual potential. That's why they give you a kicking and criticise.
Jeremy,
Yeah.
It's a waste of time on a person who doesn't see. It's just a glass panel there. They don't
What's
see. Don't
What's Jeremy's surname again?
Corbyn.
Corbyn.
Jeremy.
It's gone. I need a new brain. Where are we? Corbyn. He's very approachable, by the way. Very, very nice.
Oh, he's a thoroughly...
People bump into him in the most random places. I'm like, I'm on the tube every day. Why don't I see him?
Yeah, but you don't... Just contact him.
Yeah, I'm gonna go and
there's a-
talk to him.
But be honest, say
Through
that
the
you're
House
a
of
young
Parliament.
journalist. If you're Bangladeshi, just use it. You know, give it an edge, because
Like, but some people just look at me like, okay, but she's a hijab. She's already gonna come with opinions. But I'm like, no, I'm open to opinions. Like,
but
if you
the-
just speak to me rationally and
Yeah.
agree to debate rationally, it's fine. If you're gonna come back at me with strong opinions and just criticize everything I say, like, there's no point of discussion.
No.
It's just gonna go in circles.
but you've a right to your opinions. If the other person's got a right to their opinion, you have.
Exactly.
It's whether it's well founded, and it will continue developing only if you express them and open them to challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm still working on my confidence, though, so myself. I'm like dying inside at the same time. It's like my face doesn't say it all. Inside, I'm shaking.
But you mustn't think that when you look at an old geriatric like me, that I was always confident.
No, it took years, isn't it?
It takes years.
Experience, everything.
It takes years. And the other thing is, ideas don't... I didn't exist as an articulate person with ideas and with the knowledge to back those ideas. It takes time.
Studying.
So you know, you're on a good road, and you're perfect as you are, okay? And the other thing is, the people that like you are nervous and shy a bit, and like you say, Shay, you've got empathy, and you also have imagination, because you can imagine how another person might react. You got, when you stand at somebody's door, what's going to happen to me? What is it going to be like? You've got a good guess because of the article, and but you never know when you express opinion. That means you've got imagination and empathy. And I tell you, I've seen so many youngsters grow. The ones that go the rockier road with emotional insecurities, lack of self-confidence, that's due to sensitivity. And that's a very important characteristic, sensitivity. There's lots of thickies around. You're not a thickie. Yeah, it's good. It's absolutely good.
Thank you.
There's a few things for you to have.
It was contacting
Dr.
Ang.
Yeah.
Of MAP.
Yeah. She runs the main NGO for Palestine.
Okay, you said
Very-
Islington, right?
MAP
Yeah.
does.
Yeah.
Yeah, the office is... We pass it regularly.
Oh, what? Have you got it written down, the address of...
Oh, yeah, I should have, shouldn't I? I don't know.
Have you got any letter? No, your letters are personal, aren't they? They're not-
No, it's fine. I should find it. Dr. Ang should be on the internet.
Ang,
Yeah.
ANG, and MAP, Medical Aid for Palestine. Main NGO.
Yeah, I'm used to
NGO.
And you'll find books on the internet. Her book. She hasn't written a lot, but she has.
There is one book she wrote, which I do have. But
And have the confidence to approach Jeremy, because he's
Okay.
he's,
oh,
a,
he's lovely.
he's a
Such
nice man.
nice
Obviously,
man.
he's
They call
under-
him a maniac everywhere. I'm just like, that's better.
maniac. Of course not.
Yeah.
No, he's a thoroughly decent, down to earth guy.
He's lovely.
You know.
So
And
nice.
look, all these people that call him all these names,
Oh, it's
they were wrong on housing, they were wrong about deindustrialisation, they were wrong about Iraq, they were wrong about allowing wages to spiral down, they were wrong on everything.
Yeah.
These know-alls that are great leaders, banking, they slick the bankers and let them loose to rape the country
Right,
and get massively indebted. No, there's nothing wrong with him.
Yeah.
And there's Sabi.
Yes, but Sabi's a loony lefty.
No, but he's also a very
Yeah,
nice.
the trouble is I don't
He's
know.
got a lot of
I
contacts.
don't know his second name and I don't know his house number. Oh,
But-
Sabi?
But you could ask the journalist you contacted,
Okay.
because Camden New Journal, they definitely know Sabi.
Yes, because
Okay.
he has had the odd articles.
Well,
in-
Sabi is the Workers' Party, the Socialist
Yeah,
Workers' Party.
Yeah, and his
But
dad
he's
is a Zionist.
Oh, okay.
no. He's very anti-Zionist.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
No, he's absolutely
okay.
anti.
Yeah.
But his father was a top Zionist.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So historically, he knows a lot about the Middle East and politics. He tends to, like all workers,
He's a bit-
socialist workers and communists, they talk in stereotypical
Yeah, they do.
language.
They don't use
You know,
every day.
their use of language and semantics is sort of 19th century, you know, and got a pretentious intellectualness
Yeah.
about it.
He-
But he's a lovely guy, and he's a
Yes,
fantastic chairman of,
Yeah, if
of
you
committee meetings.
If you could
Yeah.
get to meet him, maybe.
He lives in Patsall Road, I
Yes, he
think.
does.
Oh, wait,
Yeah.
here?
Yeah.
So that's where my uncle lives.
Really?
Yeah, Patchell Road.
Ooh.
Well, Sabi,
I come here
he's-
every weekend. So
he-
when I heard about this, I was like, so that's
He's a
gonna be
Jewish
fun.
communist with antecedents in
His father-
Zionism, but he's very
His
anti-Zionist.
father was a top Zionist.
And so the import for that for you is that he's elderly. Again, it's like Dr. Ang. These are people whose minds it's worth recording and meeting
Yeah.
and finding out.
Yeah.
Because the knowledge that they've got, the history knowledge that they've got, is going to disappear. And it's
Yes,
detailed. It's like talking to the ex-soldier up here, to hear first-hand accounts from Peter of what it was like to be a young soldier in Palestine when the Israelis were trying to get hold of it, when they weren't legally there, as it were, and what they did and their terrorism. You know, they invented every terrorist act that, like lorry bombs and EIDs and assassinations going up to people and they invented them all. Those are the things that they did.
They
Yeah.
just try to mention Hizb ut-Tahrir as much as they can.
Pardon?
They just try to mention Hizb ut-Tahrir. Not Hizb ut-Tahrir, sorry. Who are the rebels in Palestine who keep bombing and everything?
Oh,
H-
yeah. But they're freedom fighters, you
Yes,
see.
yeah.
That's another
Same with
term.
the Kurds. With the,
Yeah, that's another thing that the journalists in the West, the media, will not use terms properly. That when a person is in an occupied or decimated country, they're not a terrorist, they're a freedom fighter.
yeah.
End of.
They just want their hands up to them. It's devastating, but
If I could find it, and I think I can, if you promise to bring back the book.
no, actually, I wanted to bring fruits and drinks, but I was like, okay, imagine they shut the door on my face. I'll just go with that. But so yeah, I was planning to come back.
Lend you the book.
Okay.
The book that Dr. Ang wrote about these two prisoner camps in
The
Lebanon.
Shia, it was something Shia. What was the name? Sabah Shia, yeah.
You've got it recorded, Sue.
Oh, right.
Oh my god, you just reminded me, I'm recording. I was putting in my bag.
Did you
When you
record
get too much in the conversation, you forget what's going on.
Yeah, you do.